Hey, what's up, parental queens? Welcome to Baget, the home of family creativity. My name is Cedrica Baggett, and I help moms build unbreakable bonds with their teens through cooking. Now, let's get into today's show. All right, y'all know my favorite part of the show, which is motivational moment, y'all. Y'all know I gotta motivate you, give y'all a fresh start of the show, give you some positivity, give you some good energy. So let me tell you about today's quote, okay? Today's quote is, wherever you go, no matter what the weather, always bring your own sunshine. If you want light to come into your life, you need to stand where it is shining. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out. Happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. So, not only do you have to be positive for yourself, you have to also be positive for your children. You have to be positive for everybody that's around you, even whether that's at work, whether that's in school, whether that's at home. No matter what you're doing, make sure you're positive in doing it and take one step day in and day out to be successful. Okay, so let me remind you, ladies, about this quote. Wherever you go, no matter what the weather, always bring your own sunshine. If you want light to come into your life, you need to stand where it is shining. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out. Happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. Okay, girl? So that's today's quote for some motivational moment. So remember that and don't forget. Now let's go into the next part of today's show, our fun food fact, which is vinegar. Now let me tell y'all about some vinegar. First of all, vinegar, it is a general household cleanser. Yes, it is. And it can clean your cutting boards, the wooden cutting boards, or butcher blocks for the countertop, and after each use. Also, because I know this for a fact, because I use vinegar in my house. You can mix vinegar, a little bit of water, and Dawn soap in a spray bottle. Spray literally your walls, your showers, your tubs, your everything, and it gets all the scum, the whatever. It gets it all out. Vinegar is a lifesaver. I even use it for cleaning the dishwasher and the clothing for clothes, the washing machine. So all you do is put like half a cup of vinegar in the dishwasher. You could use like one of those hard plastic cups, like a Solo cup. Put the vinegar in there, put it in the dishwasher, run it full wash to clean the dishwasher, and then sprinkle some baking soda up in there. Get all the freshness, and then run it again. Same thing with the washing machine. Same thing. Do a whole cycle. It cleans it really well and makes it sparkle. Vinegar is good for everything, not just cooking. It's good for cleaning. It gets it all out, and it's a natural cleanser as well. So you're not dealing with any hard chemicals or anything like that. So get you some vinegar, girl. You can get you a whole gallon for $1. All right. So that is my fun food fact for tonight. Vinegar. Get you some white vinegar. That's it. The clear. All right. So now tonight, let me get into today's guest. All right. Her name is Sarah Wall. She is a virtual assistant, homeschool blogger. She is a single mom of 6, and she supports bloggers, coaches, and mompreneurs how to manage and grow online presence. So today we're going to be talking about how to break through life's challenges and come into your season. Don't that sound good? That sounds real good. That sounds like a real good topic right now. How to break through life's challenges and come into your season. So first, let me say, I'll move on. If you, of course, you're getting value out of this. I know you are. So make sure you're like this video, because you never know who needs to hear someone else's story. You just never know. So make sure you share and like this. All right. So now let me introduce you to Sarah Wall. Hi, Sarah. There you go. Okay, I hear you now.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's good to have you. So just go ahead and just share your story.
Okay, so as Cedric was saying, my name is Sarah. I live here in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, with my 6 daughters. Yep, there are 6 of them. They are 3, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 17. Yes, there's a range. I have been a single parent since 2013 when my husband and I separated for the final time. I was married for about 6 years total before the divorce was final in 2014. And my marriage was, let's just say it wasn't great. We'll just leave it at that. If you want to know more about the specifics about what all went on with my marriage, you can read it on my blog because I have the whole journal there. But needless to say, it wasn't pleasant. It started off on a wrong foot and went downhill from there to having police called and having all kinds of drama going on. So when we left, I had 4 children under 6 and 5 children under 10. That made things definitely more challenging than the average person. And we moved shortly after the divorce was final. So I moved myself, by myself, 5 children and me, into a small 3-bedroom townhouse. And we rested there for a bit because I had to recover. The kids had to recover. I had savings financially, and courts had finally started making my ex pay a little support towards the kids. So between that, we managed. We made it work, and I knew though that this wasn't going to last. So I needed to do something more, and really, I wanted to do more because my life is not going to be, and wasn't going to be at the time, wasn't just going to be wrapped up in my kids. And so I decided to start a business. I started Zara Support in 2015. Promptly found out I was pregnant again, and dealt with building a business, having a baby all by myself. It was great. Let's put it that way. It was great. There were some challenges that went on there, but we've grown from my little freelancing to having a small team where now we provide services to bloggers, coaches, other entrepreneurs online. We provide general tech support. We provide some specific project support. I love it. I love working from home. I love the flexibility of it. I really believe that the internet has made it possible for anybody to be able to start a business.
Awesome. So my first question for you is, when you left your marriage and started all over with yourself and your kids, what challenges did you go through by just starting over?
There were a few. I mean, we had trauma to deal with, right? When I'm having to deal with my own trauma and you're dealing with kids who are scared and confused, and I mean, I thank God that they were so little, because the transition, I think, for them was a whole lot easier. My oldest still has scars and things that she still has to deal with from the result of my marriage, but she's working through them, and I'm certain she'll be fine. But there was the emotional side. There was that having to get mentally to a place where I could deal with it. And I mean, I still have moments where I struggle, right? Because it's a lifelong process. But one of the key things for me was really realizing that I had choices and owning where my choices were and where my responsibility was, and then where it ended, and recognizing that not only did I have choices, but my ex had choices, and I wasn't responsible for his choices. And it wasn't my fault that he made some of the choices that he made. And as much as I may have wanted it otherwise for the sake of my kids, I couldn't make him make different choices. That was out of my control. So recognizing that and realizing that I could only control myself, I could only control the choices that I made, was incredibly both freeing and empowering at the same time. Because it freed me from the guilt of feeling like I should have done more, I could have done more. Because the thing is I couldn't have done more, right? I can't make him choose differently. I can't. Right. And you can't make somebody else choose differently, whether it's your kids or your mom or your sister, your best friend, your ex, your boyfriend, your partner, whatever. You can't make them make the choices you want them to make. Like that's just not possible. And so
Yeah.
when you recognize that, it's freeing, right? Because it relieves you from the guilt of feeling responsible for their choices, because you're not responsible for their
Mhm.
choices. And that's,
Exactly.
I mean, that is like dropping, pounds of weight at a time. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like the best weight loss program ever, because it's a weight off of your mind. And
Yes.
you have no idea how much that, like, when you go through it, you don't realize how much you've been weighed down by
Mhm.
the feeling responsible for other people's choices. And it's not you. At the
Right.
same time, feeling empowered, because recognizing that you have a choice. Yes, bad stuff comes up, and
Mhm.
emotionally we want to react right away. We want to make those instant emotional reactions, and it's hard to control our feelings. But
Mhm.
realizing that your reaction doesn't have to be the choice that you make. You can choose
Right.
something different. You can choose a response. You can choose how you're
Mhm.
going to respond to that. So when my ex would text me, all kinds of negative messages, and when he'd harass me on the phone, when he'd yell at me on the phone, um, I could make choice. I could choose to react back to him. I could choose to yell right back at him, and I could choose to have those fights and put my kids through that over and over and over again. Or I could choose to walk away. I could
Yeah.
choose to not respond to him emotionally. I could
Mhm.
choose to recognize that, you know what, he chose to not value our relationship, so
Mhm.
he doesn't get my emotions anymore. He doesn't get that value anymore. I can keep that all for myself, because I'm worth more than that. I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I'm worth more than that. I have a choice
The deal
here.
is silence is a very powerful, powerful thing to use.
It's
I've learned that growing into adulthood. When you don't
it's not
respond to them,
even. Yeah, when you don't
it
respond.
blows their minds like, oh my God, they didn't respond.
Yeah.
Then they're
And
confused.
and it's not even that, it's how you choose to respond, because I mean,
Mhm.
there are things that I had to respond back to, right? Like,
Yeah.
there were things, I couldn't stop talking to him entirely. We have children
Right.
together. We still have to figure out, when he's going to see them and how that's going to
Mhm.
look like. But it was how I chose to respond to him. I could be
Mhm.
snarky, I could be sarcastic, I could be, grumpy with him, I could be irritated, I could show all of that, or I could be polite and respectful and
Mhm.
treat him as though he was my kid's doctor, right?
Okay.
Right? It was okay. So when they're a partner, when they're family, when you have a relationship that's intimate, then it breaks, right? You have all of that emotional ties to them. And so it's
Mhm.
really hard not to communicate with them with all of those emotional laden history, right?
Right.
It's really hard to not do that. But when you break the relationship, you need to break all of those emotional ties
Yep.
too, and treat them as if they were the clerk at the grocery store, as
Yep.
if they were the postman delivering your mail. They're a stranger and you don't know, and you don't really care about what's
Mhm.
going on in their lives beyond what you absolutely have to know to get the
Yes.
interaction that you got to get through done.
Uh,
So I'm not going to ask, I might say, hi, how are you, to the cashier who's
mhm.
checking out my groceries, but I don't care really. It's none of my business, and I'm
Right.
not going to be there talking about her grandma who's, has a dog who needs to get fixed. Like, that's none of my business, and I am not emotionally attached to this. And it would be all kinds of awkward if we ended up having a conversation about that. I mean, you've gotten into those conversations, I'm sure,
Yes.
where they just overshare, and it's
Yes.
like, yeah, lady, I just want to get my cereal and my milk home to feed my kids. Can we just move this along here? You've been
Yes.
there, right? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And but that's not you have no emotional connection to them. And that's
Right.
the way I had to treat him. Treat him
Mhm.
with the same politeness and the same respect I would, you know, somebody who was interacting with to get something I needed done.
Yeah, that's
And
very important. I love your ways, and I can totally relate.
yeah, right?
It because it's what your
It,
mental stability and your
it
happiness is the
takes
most important thing.
Exactly. It takes all of the stress out of the interaction. It takes all of that emotional negativity out of the interaction.
Mhm.
And when and secretly, you can take a little bit of satisfaction out of realizing it drives them crazy.
Yeah.
Because they can't push your buttons anymore. You turned those off. Those
Yes.
buttons that they used to push all the time, you just disconnected. And they can't push those buttons anymore. And I mean, literally, it does drive them crazy. But you'll get to the point. I mean, for the first little bit, there was that, yeah, you can't make me react. And it was almost a game I was playing with myself, right? You can't make me react. You know, it doesn't matter what you say. You can't make me give you any kind of emotional reaction.
Yes.
Not going to happen. But eventually, I really did get to the point where I was like, why are you texting me about your work situation? I mean, unless it's going to impact the financial support that you're giving me, I don't care. Like, it's none of my business. I don't care.
So what
Right?
what steps did you have to take? What stuff did you have to instill in your life to get you to that breakthrough?
Well, like I said, first was that realization that it was not my fault, that none of his choices were ones I was responsible for. I didn't make him push me. I didn't make him yell at me. I didn't make him break stuff. I didn't make him slam the door. I didn't make him do any of that. Nothing I said, nothing I did caused him to behave like that. That was him. So that was the first thing, is realizing that it wasn't my fault. The second thing was realizing I had a choice, that I could choose something different. And then the third one was realizing that there's always a way out, right? I mean, if you're religious, there's that Bible verse that says God will always make a way out, right? There is always a way. And that is my motto in life. And it is my motto in raising my kids. It's my motto in my business. There's always a way to do what you want to do. Sometimes you just need to find the right support to get it done. And in my business, that's what I aim to do. It's what I've built my business around doing, is providing that support for people so that they can get what they want done without having to worry about the obstacle in the way. My goal is to remove barriers here, because I had to remove the barriers for myself.
True.
And
exactly.
When you realize that there's always a way, there's always a way. All of a sudden, nothing can stop you.
Yep. That's
that's just facts. Like, there's always a way. So it's just a matter of finding which way it is, right? So sometimes it might feel like you're going through a maze and there's always a dead end, and it's like, okay, which way do I go here? But knowing that there's a way out and it's just a matter of time before you find it, it builds confidence, right? Because there's no more fear. There's just no fear that you're going to get trapped, because you know you're not. There's always a way out. Always.
Yes. And have you seen the positive changes in your children ever since you made that change within yourself?
Oh yeah, totally. So my parenting strategy is this, based on the fact that you can't control anybody else. You always have a choice, and there's always a way. I work on a 4-step process with all of my kids, and I work with them individually. But the first step is to teach them, right? You've got to teach them step by step what they need to know. Step by step. I mean, sometimes some kids get it faster than others. I've got one child who's incredibly advanced. She blows my mind. I've got another child who's actually diagnosed autistic. So she's developmentally delayed, and you've got to work with her a little bit slower, a little bit more careful, a little more deliberately, a little more step by step. But this works for anybody. You teach them what they need to know. So go for a practical example here. You want to teach your child how to make toast. It's simple. Make toast. But your 5-year-old is going to be like, what do I do? I know there's bread. I know you have to use this machine, but they're going to be bouncy, and they're not going to be careful. And you have to walk with them through it. You have to help them take the bread, show them where to put it, help them, push it down, help them remember that it's hot. You can't touch, take it out. Like, you go step by step. And when you actually do it step by step, there's a lot of steps. And it's like, well, there is a lot of steps to this, but you teach them. Once they've learned the steps, then you train them. Training is different than teaching. Training means practice. It means going over it again and again and again, right? It means giving them a little bit more time to do it by themselves, but you're right there, right? Like a personal trainer at the gym,
right?
They're not leaving you alone. You're the one doing the work, but they're right there beside you, encouraging you, showing you, reminding you of the steps, and you're paying for it because that's what you pay them to do. It's the same thing with our kids, right? We're going to train them to do what they want, what you want them, what they want to do ultimately.
Right.
But once they've learned it and once they've, got it down, it's almost a habit, then it's time to step back and let it go a little bit and step back to the next step, which is coaching.
Yep.
And so now you're not right beside them anymore.
Right.
You're the soccer coach at the side of the field where they're out playing the game. And you're yelling encouragement from the sidelines. And you're, doing those meetings where you're reminding them of the rules and reminding them, okay, let's try this strategy. And you're working with them, and you might do practice drills every once in a while and go back to a little bit of training, but you're not always there right beside them. But you've never left them alone yet, right? You've just taken a step back. You're not right there beside them anymore, but you're at the side of the field. And you're watching, but you're encouraging from a distance, and you're letting them do it on their own. And then the final step is you got to go completely hands off. Give them a safety net, but it's completely hands off, and it's the empowerment to do it themselves. Right? You empower them to do it themselves. Yeah, you're always going to provide that safety net because they're not going to get it right all the time. And you're going to pick them up when they fall, and you're going to try to catch them and minimize all, you can't fix everything, but you're going to try your best to, support them when they fall, when they make a mistake, but you're going to empower them. And it's that letting go process, and it's that step by step. But the thing is letting go at the empowering stage is a whole lot easier when you've taught them, when you have trained them, when you have seen them succeed with you as you've coached them. And if you trust, ultimately empowering your kids means trusting yourself. Because you've got to trust that you did your job.
Right. Because you want to raise them. You don't want the world to raise them. So I like how you talked about the steps using toast. That was like the perfect way to do it. But you implement all those steps in life of raising them and grow.
Exactly. And it's the step by step, and it's always a challenge because it's hard sometimes to judge when you need to move from teaching to training, because there's not a magic age, and it's different. It's different for each task. It's different for each age. It's different for each child. And for some of my kids, I could go into the empowerment stage right now for some things, and for other things, exact same child, and we're right back to the end of the teaching where, we have to be almost hands-on because they're not at that stage. Right. And it's a lifelong process, I think. I don't think it's a process that will ever end, right? I have a 17-year-old. I'm in the process of getting ready to launch, right? She's going to be 18.
Right.
Way sooner than we're both ready for. Legally, legally it changes things.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. There's a blip here.
Oh, no problem. So what motivates you to just keep going?
A couple of things. One, I've got kids, right? And when I was in the middle of dealing with the emotional trauma, that was the one thing that kept me up. That kept me getting up in the morning, because I couldn't leave them to him.
Right. Yeah.
They needed me, right? They needed a mother who was gonna do her best for them. And so in order to do my best for my kids, I had to do my best for myself. Yes. Because I can't give them what I don't have. So, it was always an adjustment, always learning. And I'm not done yet, obviously. I have a 3-year-old. I've got another 15 years before I can even say she's close to being launched. So I'm still in the middle of this. Yeah. But ultimately, it's also realizing that I'm a person myself. And if I want to teach my children that we respect people because they're people, because being people, they're worthy of respect, because they're a person, they're a living soul, that's worth respecting right there. The only way I can teach that is by modeling that. And if I'm going to model that, then I have to start with myself. And
yeah.
I'm worthy of all kinds of good things because I'm a person, because I am a living soul. And if I'm going to make choices, then I have to make choices that are in my own best interest. And that means that there's no giving up, right? That means that you don't stop. It might mean that you have to rest.
Yeah.
There's a difference between resting and quitting.
Yes. Yes, that's very important. We all need our self-care to reboot, to, move on in life, get through every day with all the kids and what they need to do. And
exactly. But there's a difference between self-care and taking care of yourself. And I think a lot of people get that confused.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're struggling, start by actually taking care of yourself before you try the self-care. And taking care of yourself is my 5. It's my 5 things. Have you hydrated? Have you nourished? Have you rested? Have you moved? And have you talked to somebody who is not your 3-year-old child? I mean, an actual adult person. Someone.
So who?
And that's almost more important now than it is ever, because we're all at home way more than we want to be.
Especially now. So who has been, if you have any influential people in your life, who is it? If you have more than one, that's fine.
Do you know what's funny? It's my grandmothers, right? So both my grandmothers had 5 children. And both of them had 5 children really close in age. So I really already felt a real connection, because I'm like, if they had 5 children close in age, can have my 4 close in age too, right? And I look back at them and I go, I know both my grandmothers, my one grandmother's still living, actually. She's in her 80s. But yeah, so I'm very fortunate. My children have a great grandparent.
Yes.
But so both of them grew up in a time period where they didn't have electric washing machines. Right. They didn't have disposable diapers. They didn't have doctors on phone calls, right? They didn't have Google, in the palm of their hand, right? They had to manage all by themselves. Like, my one grandmother had twins a year after her first child.
Oh, wow.
On a backwater farm with no electricity, no running water, and the nearest neighbor, they didn't even have a car. They drove horse and buggy. This is how rural it was. Because, it was just the 50s, but this is how rural it was. Is they didn't have a car at that moment. And so she was on a farm by herself with 3 children under 2.
Wow.
With no running water and diapers, cloth diapers, and no running water. And I'm going, lady, how did you do that? But then I go, if she can survive that, then this, with all of the conveniences that I have, right? I have Google at my fingertips. I have disposable diapers that I can order on an app and get them dropped off at my door.
Which is what
I can get takeout at a moment's notice.
There's no excuse. That's how you have to look at it.
There's no excuse for me.
No excuse.
No. So that's really where my influence is. So I have strong female, it's in my family, right? And if I'm going to live up to that model, if I'm going to be that kind of grandmother to my grandchildren, then I have to put into practice now. Those habits and that strength was not developed from birth, right? It's not there. You're not born with that. You grow that. It's like a muscle, right? You got to work it, grow it. So you just keep working it, and one step at a time, one day at a time. I tell people, and they ask me, "Ooh, you have a handful of kids," and I'm like, "Yeah." How do you handle it all? Why? They came one at a time. They came one at a time. I grew one at a time, kind of like the frog in the pot of boiling water, right? You turn up the heat a little bit at a time. You just get used to it.
Yep. That's awesome. So I'm going to pull up your information. Can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Sure. So my first one is raisingroyalty.ca, and this is my blog. This is my personal blog where I talk all things single parenting, managing a large family, and homeschooling, because I've been an active homeschooler now for 14 years. So I homeschool my children. Eclectically. We don't use an online school. We do traditional, not even traditional. I wouldn't even call it traditional homeschooling. We do all kinds of things, but you can find out about all the kinds of things that we do there. That could be another half hour. Trust me, we won't keep you that long. So that's where you can learn all about that. You can get my secrets on, how I managed to maintain a house with 4 children under 5 or 4 children under 6. My secret is daily minimum maintenance. Daily minimum maintenance. And you can find that post there. You can also find the planner that I use every day that I developed. It's for sale on there as well. So Plan Day has the exact system that I use to not only keep track of what I and 6 other small children are doing every day, but also helps me track and achieve all of my goals.
That's amazing.
Right? So, and it's different than your traditional planner because I work on a top-down basis, not from the bottom up. We start with your goals and your vision, and we work down from there. We don't start with the day-to-day.
Okay.
You got to start at the top. You got to put the big rocks in first.
Yes.
Before you add the water and the sand, right?
That makes sense. So what's their pronounce I don't want to say it wrong.
Zera Support.
Zera
Support. It's a play on my name because my name is Sarah, right? So Zera Support is what it's called. And Zera Support is where you'll find all of my services and projects that we manage. So we do offer general virtual assistant services, but we also offer some specialized packages like website design. We will set up a gorgeous website for you. We offer some more specialized services, like we'll produce a virtual summit. We will develop a course, an online course for you. We can manage your blog for you. I mean, if you've got a blog and you don't want to deal with all of the tasks that go into it, you just want to write the content, you can write the content and we'll take care of the rest. So we have those packages coming soon. Hopefully, will be launch management, where we will manage the launch process for your new product or course. Hopefully, I'm hoping to be able to do that for the end of the summer. We'll see how things go.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's lots of fun. I love it. I love working with all kinds of people. Love it.
You're amazing. And you're amazing.
Oh, it's fine. The thing is, this is the thing, is as much as it looks like I do a lot, I firmly believe anybody can do this. Like anybody can do this. Because if I can do this and I'm raising 6 kids on my own, a mom who has 2 children, right? Who has family support, who has daycare, affordable, who has people around her who has way more support than I do, you can do it too. Yeah, you might have your challenges, but there's always a way.
Yep.
And if I can do it with the challenges that I have, you can do it with the challenges you have. There's always a way.
Always a way.
If we can be part of your support team and help you overcome some of the challenges in your way, I would love to be there.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, thank you for coming on and sharing your story and your journey. Your journey is amazing. It's been amazing to have you on. Make sure you guys go follow her on Facebook at Raising Royals and at Zera Support to connect with her further. And make sure you check out her website, raisingroyalty.ca and zerasupport.com. It has been a blessing having you on the show. And I also want to let everyone know that this is the last episode of this. This is the first season. The first season of Bash J. We got through it, y'all. And of course, the show will be starting back up in June, but that's not it. Of course, we coming out with Parental Queens Q&A talk show coming up soon, so look out for that. So of course, I'm not done with y'all. It's going to be more to come. And of course, if you want to know, get even more, connection, more support, join the Facebook group Parental Queens for moms with teens and preteens. And I just want to thank everybody for watching the show. And of course, you want to get your recipes. Make sure you guys go to badgercollections.com/ball/news. It's going to be in the link above or below, wherever you're watching or listening. So make sure you guys not tune in next week because I'm used to saying that. But make sure you guys look out for the information for the upcoming shows. And I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in with me this whole time. Thank you for making it, encouraging for me and making this. I hope you guys have been getting a lot of value out of my shows, and I get a lot of value out of it too with the wonderful people I bring on. For Sarah here, she's amazing. And so, yeah, I will see you guys soon. Bye.